Content warning. The following show contains smoking, discussions of fictitious violence, and possibly some other sensitive topics. A few opinions that may come off as hot takes or not the experiences of other people that some might disagree with. But know this, no one here is being attacked. If you feel as though you're being seen, then interact. We invite you to interact and engage with us. And now that that has been said, viewer discretion is advised. Wow, man, you went like full elevator voice on that. Yeah, I know. I don't know. I guess I felt like I had to do something different. I suppose, I guess that's what you're doing. Yeah. Should we play the music? I think we should play the music. Okay, let's get that music started. Hey everybody, how's it going out there today? I am Solar Gray, the Cinematic Sorcerer, and I am coming at you from the Wizard's Tower. And welcome to the dark side of the room. Oh, it's a big cup of coffee today, although it's 1,000,000 degrees outside. But yeah, that's a thing. And this is the show where we talk about being gamers, while learning some very valuable life skills. Okay, we talk to a lot of people about a lot of different things, and we put all that stuff together. We do our best not to be a political channel. Not in that, hey, you need to stop being political and just talk about games because you're talking about stuff I don't like kind of way. But, we don't really talk a lot about politics unless it's directly involved with the experiences that we have as gamers or content creators or musicians or just any kind of creative folk. We are more creative folk, and not in that sense of everybody's so creative, but we do our best. So with all that being said, I want to welcome people here. If this is not your first time here, I get it. Just if you're watching on YouTube, do all those YouTube things, like, subscribe, all that other stuff, because YouTube does not like long form content. It also does not like positive content. So what does that mean? Well, since this whole channel is about playing with toys, telling stories, being nerdy, enjoying ourselves, and saying, you know what, you can do it too. And it's perfectly fine to be you, and let's like ourselves and treat each other kindly. YouTube is like, people don't want to engage with that. I ain't going to show it to nobody. So when you like, subscribe, engage, all those YouTube things, then you are telling the algorithm, our mighty Lord algorithm with control over who sees us and whether or not we get paid, bro, you're wrong. You're wrong. I want to see that content. That's what I want. I want to see the stuff that tells me I'm okay, not just the stuff that reassures that the world's on fire, So Like, subscribe, engage, and all that stuff on the YouTubes. If you are watching on Twitch, welcome. Welcome, welcome, welcome. And if you want to know how you can engage or interact with us, it's very simple. The first way is to open up your email. Hey, what is going on, Neon Arlecchino? No, I am not singing Smash Mouth today, all right? Because I have walked on the sun and I came back with a whole lot of issues, all right? That's what I'm doing. And, no, but it is the end of the world as we know it, and I feel all right. Yeah, I'm more REM than Smash Mouth. But all you got to do is open up your keyboard and do a couple of things. One, you can hit that link that Neon Arlecchino is about to put into the chat to our Discord, and you can join our Discord channel there. You can also, and this is like a real thing, all right, you can totally open up your keyboard, go to your email, okay? And when you go to your email, you'll have that little button to do too. Y'all know how to do email. It's how people communicate nowadays. And type in back in the deck at gmail.com. That's BACKINTHEDECK at gmail.com. You can also find us on all the cool little places on social media like Twitter, Instagram, and all those places. All you got to do is look up Back in the Deck. That's BACKINTHEDECK. On Instagram and Twitter. And if you are on TikTok, just give us a follow. That's all we're asking for. You know, maybe a stitch, maybe something like that. At BidPy, that's BIDPY. And of course, you can always join our Discord. That's my public Discord. Now, do we have a Patreon? Yes. Does that Patreon have a private Discord? Well, you got to join the Discord, or you got to join the Patreon to find that out. See what I did there? See what I did? I totally did the thing. And I'm putting that up right here in the YouTube chat because I'm not one of those people that like the content that's like, yeah, if you want access to our community, join the Discord. I'm like, I don't like hiding friends behind paywalls. I have one Discord for people that is broke, just like me, because I'm broke. Broke. And there might be a Discord for people who pay. I don't know. But if you go to patreon.com/BID_P and you're okay with the moraine of content that I have there, because I am terrible at Patreon, but I'm trying to get better. I'm learning. I'm doing better stuff. I'm really putting some work in to be better at all that stuff. Then you'll find out whether or not we have a Discord there. All right. So, now that I've got my mouse back in the right place, I want to welcome you guys here. And now that you're here, did I do that thing again? I totally did that thing again. I've got the music playing over here, but it wasn't playing for you guys. And that's a thing. So, now that we've got all that stuff up and out the way. Huh? How wrong of a place can a mouse be? When you're running off of 3 screens, it's really easy to misplace your tiny little mouse. Like, look at the little mouse. Oh, it's all tiny and it's over there. You know, it's really easy to make those errors, and I do that all the time. So, I want to thank you guys for showing up. Let's talk about some stuff. Now, today, as you saw in the comments, or not in the comment, but in the show title, it's, what kind of player am I? I am not really, Neon. Like, you weren't here yesterday. I don't know what was going on, but whoever came back looks like they are cruising for being put under a bridge. All right, that's what I'm saying. That's because that's where that kind of comment belongs, if you know what I mean. Now, so yesterday after the show, I did some chores and a few other things that I got to do because I'm an adult and I live alone. So, you know, got to do some dishes, got to do some stuff like that. And then I went to go see a friend because they're like, please come over. And I'm like, oh, okay, who's on fire? And, you know, we talked about stuff. And I found myself giving a crash course in 40K lore to a room full of people. Okay. And one of them, shouts out to her, like, for real, because her boyfriend plays Warhammer 40K. So she has heard all the stuff all before, all the time. And she's just like, oh God, here we go. Burr, 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 burr. And I'm like, I don't mean to be that guy, but people are asking questions and they to my credit, I did not go into the horse heresy. I just gave an overall view of the world, the factions, and made fun of the naming conventions. Ferris Manus, if you know, you know. Now, but we had the conversation, that conversation about learning to play games and stuff. And we talked about the Timmy, Johnny, and Spike. And sorry, you got to be really old to understand that reference. Anyway, and as you guys know, if you're not new to the channel, if you are new to the channel, welcome. I'm glad you're here. And thank you for being here. You're just being a little gremlin right now. You know that is what you're being right now, Neon. The thing I gotta say on that is oh, I never shared the announcement. What it comes down to is there's more than 3 categories of any particular gamer, and I love getting into this conversation. Now, a few years ago, a friend of mine, we'll just call him the Mad Cuban, shared an article with me about Magic the Gathering, okay? And this was, there are 3 types of Magic the Gathering players, the Timmy, the Johnny, and the Spike. And I saw the article. I was going to pull it up for you guys, but I don't feel like doing that much reading today. It's like 104 degrees right now in the studio because it's like 90 degrees outside. And I live in LA, and the part of LA I have doesn't have much greenery. So everything bakes all the time. That's just what it does, all right? Yo, what's going on, Sofa King? The king of living room furniture. But the article did make some really good observations, okay? One of the observations that it made was the 3 types of players that there are in Magic the Gathering, and this can be applied to other games, are the Timmy, the Johnny, the Spike, all right? Timmy loves playing games. That's what they love doing. Timmy is like, yeah, what's up? I got this giant robot and I want to put it on the board and make it go pew pew. Yeah. Okay. The Johnny. Now, in the article, and this is one of the things that I wanted to bring up about the article that I disagree with, was the categorizations that they have in this article. I don't know if it was a language thing or what, but when they based the categorizations on this, they talked about how these players like to win. Not how they approach the game to play, but how they like to win. They have fun in a game if they win by these circumstances. Now, I am not a big fan of that because I don't believe, okay? I know and I live by the truth that a game is supposed to be fun for all parties involved, not just the winner. In fact, over here at BidP, when I put together gaming groups and I'm putting together clubs, I always remind people of the back in the deck motto, which is if the person who lost against you didn't have fun in the process, then you are playing wrong. Okay? That's a really big thing for me, a lot of other people, all right? Because I don't know what it is about the United States of America, the US of A, but we have this idea that the only way something can be good is if we dominate. Okay, the only way to exist is to be in charge. So second place is first loser. You've got to win. That determines your worth. That determines your value. And Sorry, man. We hear it back on the deck. We don't just not believe it, but we know. And I'm talking about knowledge beyond knowledge, that isn't true. Okay. But I was in this boomer parents ruined it for us. In truth, I could say colonialism did. And, I could take that all the way back to Rome if I felt like it. Because, we live in a civilization that's based on conquest instead of expansion by mutual benefit or the greater good. So, it's a thing. Yeah, a lot of people put so much stress on being perfect. And that's just not how we roll here at Back in the Deck. All right. Because no one's perfect on everything the very first time they try. It's not the way life works. Okay. If that's the case, you wouldn't spend the first, you wouldn't spend the first 4 years of your life pooping your pants and learning how to walk. And then you wouldn't spend the next 18 years learning how to speak, do mathematics, drive, and figure out what the heck and bloody heck that you want to do with the rest of your life. All right? So that's just real talk. So there you are, Neon. I don't know where you've been, but at the beginning of the show, some dude came in and was like throwing all these rude comments about Richard Gere and mammals, and I'm glad you got him away from your desk. That really helped. So as I was saying, but we started talking about the three types, but the three types that are in the article are based on how people like to win, and I don't like looking at it that way. But since I've read the article and put together so many clubs, I have recognized, okay, that it's not just winning, but this is really just a style of play. The ways that folks try to win. Because the article states that these particular types of players don't have fun at all unless they win by these methods. Okay? So this is kind of my reimagining, reinterpreting, reinventing of that article. So the first category that we have is Timmy. Timmy is the king of casual players. That is what they are. Timmy is a player who loves their big toys. All right? If you've ever played a card game, or anything that involved buying stuff, okay? Or anything that was plot driven, Timmy is that guy that wants the thing, okay? Timmy is the guy that loves playing the car in Monopoly just so that they can go after they roll the dice, all right? Timmys love playing. They love the game. They love the act of playing pretend and being immersive. When it comes to playing collectible card games, Timmy is the one that gets the really cool card and wants to hurry up and put it into play. Not when it's strategically best or tactically most sound, but oh my god, I really hope I draw that angel that I did for this deck because man, that angel looks really cool. Not, so I've heard. Okay, if you're wondering what I'm painting on, I'm putting this brush out to pasture. Okay, it's about that time. This was a makeup brush I got from the 99-cent store about 3 months ago. I've done a lot of models with it, and now it's falling apart on me, and it's time for me to go back to the Dollar Tree and get some more makeup brushes. All right, but these things are gold for dry brushing. Okay, just gold. So yeah, but that's Timmy. Okay, when it comes to playing tabletop minis games, Timmy is that dude. All right, and when I say that dude, he's the one with the new shiny thing. That or she's the one, or they're the one with the new shiny thing. All right. Oh my god, this really big. If we're talking Warhammer 40k, because this is New Player Journey Day 9. Timmy loves Imperial Knights. They love Imperial Knights. If they pick a faction, they're like, "Oh my God, I'm playing orcs, and I just got a bunch of vehicles that look like the Batmobile, and I want to put those into play so I can go." And this car looks like the DeLorean from Back to the Future, so I've got orcs in time. That's Timmy. All right. The next type of player is Johnny. Johnny is a thinker. Johnny is a wacky dude, okay? Johnny is the dude that loves combos, loves Rube Goldberg devices. Like if Johnny is a musician, he's looking to be the conductor, okay? Johnny loves puzzles. Just puzzles. Believe it or not, Johnnies are really good at breaking games. They can look at combinations. Johnny asked the question, when this thing was designed, what was it meant for? And then when they play according to those ideas. They do a lot of things by trial and error. But Johnnies tend to have the most fun, win or lose, when you have activated their trap card. Like, aha, I knew that you were going to do this. You see, you've also beaten my giant, which means you've studied. And in study, you've learned that man is mortal. So you would want to put the poison as far away from yourself as possible so I can clearly not choose the wine in front of me. That's Johnny. And Johnny is always useful to have around. Believe it or not, Johnny's become the rules lawyers that people can tolerate the most. Okay. They love having, like, Johnnies have plans within plans within plans. Their plans have plans. That is what they do. And Johnny is that person that goes, yes, it was all part of the plan. I was wondering if I could do this thing, and now I've created an entire army of tanks. Will the army of tanks work? Probably not. But Johnny will figure out a way to make an army of tanks and make every other player sweat at the table. All right. Again, Johnny is the dude that's like, unless your enemy has studied Agrippa, which I have. All right. They do admit that you are better at this game than I am. Oh, then why are you smiling? Because I know something you don't know. And what is that? I have a trap card. And the third type of player is the spike. Okay. Now, on yesterday's show, we talked a little bit about how a lot of people eliminate the fun that they have in the activities that they do by crossing the line between game and sport. Okay? And the gamers and players, I don't care what genre of game you're doing, that are most in danger of doing this are the spikes. The spikes are win at all costs, okay? Spikes are the reason that restrictions are put in games. Because a spike will play by the letter of the law to make sure that they can win. So, if you play something like Magic the Gathering, spike is the reason that you can only have 4 of each type of card in your deck. Because why wouldn't I have 20 fireballs and I don't know if the minimum card deck size is 60 because I've been out the game for a while. But if it's 60, why wouldn't I have 20 fireballs or 40 fireballs and 20 Mox Rubies? Why wouldn't I do that? Because it's all direct damage with land that you don't have to tap. So, yeah, why wouldn't Johnny do that? Or why wouldn't Spike do that? And the answer is because it makes the game not fun for the other two-thirds types of players. That's why you wouldn't do that. And Spikes thrive in competitive environments. Now, when I talk about tournament players and how it's just not my jam, I'm really talking about spikes. Spikes that turn a spike doesn't know how to play a game, okay? Because spikes don't play. Spikes go straight cutthroat all the time. Okay, even when they're teaching you, they teach you in the cutthroat manner. It's the I'm going to punch you in the mouth until you learn to duck kind of player or kind of sportsman. All right. Yesterday we had a big talk on this, and but what's important today that I decided to let it go over is because of this. I, in Warhammer 40k, have not chosen a faction. Now, I'm only playing combat patrols, okay? And if you guys were wondering how I was putting this brush out to pasture, I paint with the slap chop method, and I was dry brushing my 13th combat patrol team. Yeah, of the 21, I have 13. I'm working on number 14, but I need resin and a couple other files. So yeah, that's real talk. I need help. I need help. I have a problem. I do. I truly have a problem. But one of the things I was talking to my friends about last night was that none of them have learned how to play Warhammer 40k, but they'd like to, and they'd like to with me. And I'm like, okay, cool. But part of my teaching technique is trying to evaluate what kind of players are coming to me to learn, because in my experience, not only do most players not know what kind of player they are, where they land on the Timmy, Spike, Johnny spectrum, but most of them. I am a fan of Mechanicus Neon Arlecchino. I'm also a fan of Necrons. I'm also a fan of Tyranids. I'm also a fan of Chaos. There's also 6 Primarchs that I like a lot. You see what I mean? You know, you see what I'm getting at? Like, I'm better at telling you which factions I don't want to play than as the ones that I do want to play. And I got to pick one, right? I got to pick one to learn. So yeah, there's that. But as I was saying, most players not only don't know what kind of players they actually are, every player believes that they're a Timmy. Every player, even the ones who know that they are competitive, believe that they can play casually. And some even do believe they play casually. And I'm not going to make a lot of blanket statements on this. I want to qualify that by stating that a lot of players who think they play casually have a different definition of casual, which means in the experiences that I've had with people, a lot of my friends who think they are casual players play tournament lists. They play lists that are put together to beat the current reigning tournament champion list of any game they're playing. But they are casual in the sense of they don't play cutthroat. Like, you took your hand off the card is played. Oh, you made a mistake? No, you're cheating. So you forfeit. Their idea of casual is not playing that way. Where the idea of casual that I talk about is gentlemen's agreements of talking to your opponent about your plan, rooting for your opponent, giving them some suggestions on how to beat you, rooting for them to win, actually genuinely wanting your opponent to win. Matter of fact, there was I think it was sometime last week, Play on Tabletop, my favorite battle report channel, had a great example of what I'm talking about right now. And that means I want to meet Takahiro even more than I wanted to before, okay? Where he had one of the premier people in the Warhammer 40k community, especially in Canada, but globally, like Mini Wargaming Dave. Just look him up and you'll be like, oh, that guy, oh, that guy, oh, that guy. You'll see him everywhere. And he was there and he's like, well, if I win, I want you to fly across Canada and come to our studio. And Tax said, okay. And if you win, I'll take you to Japan. And of course, the reply was the perfect reply, which was, are you serious? Yeah, if you beat me, I'll take you to Japan. To which Dave said, I forfeit. And Tax said, no, no, you gotta play. Okay? But just think about that. If you beat me, I will take you to Japan. I will take you and your wife to Japan, the place that you really want to go. I wish I were in that tax bracket because that's the kind of thing I would do. Okay? So, either way, Mini Wargaming Dave wins because if he beats Tack in the game, Tack has to come visit him. And if he loses against Tack, then Tack takes him to Japan. I'm like, wow, there's no way that Mini Wargaming Dave can lose. This is awesome. And when I'm the more experienced player, that's the type of thing I like to be. But that is what casual play is for me. And that's the kind of casual play that I really want to cultivate in Deckers, To answer your question, Neon, which don't I want to play? I'm not really that big on Votan. Not really feeling the Drew Carey. I mean, I love his stand-up, but the minis in the game, not really my gig. I'm attuned to Imperial Guard, but I think I'll get bored with them pretty quickly, And there's a lot of Space Marine chapters that I don't want to play. I really, really, really don't want to play the Iron Hand. I don't want to play... I definitely don't want to play the Emperor's Children. Fulgrim is fun to me, but not on the board. Although Noise Marines are awesome, and I love the idea of a Space Marine with a base that's going bwomp. I will defeat the Emperor with the power of dubstep and metal. I like the idea. But if I were to play the Emperor's Children, then I would be talking like an anime villain or the actual villain of a JRPG who's the right hand to the bad guy for the entire game until he shows his true form while he wears women's underwear. If you know, you know. But of the 11 combat patrols that I have, I really can't pick between them. I really can't. Oh, sorry. Of the dozen that I have, soon to be 13. I know when I first looked into playing the Grimdark setting with Grimdark Future and Grimdark Firefight, I chose NIDS. But yeah, so again, I'm glad I'm limiting myself to playing Combat Patrol. Because, boy, yeah. And as I play the game more, I find that I start to like more and more factions, all right? So that's the thing. I do know that if I get another video game, it'll probably be Teeth, because I really love orcs, because they're made of fun, and, but they don't seem like that on the board, but you know what I mean. So, but like I said, I played for years with a lot of players who, as Vision Vendor said, were kind of ruined by their boomer parents, where winning was more important than playing. As Neon Arlecchino said, they were more Star Wars than Lord of the Rings. It was about blowing up the Death Star and being a Jedi than it was about becoming a Jedi or walking across Middle Earth, building these bonds of friendships and seeing what was on the line in the world before dropping the ring in Mordor. Okay, and thank you for bringing that up, Neon Arlecchino, because, that definitely speaks directly to the people that want to skip Lord of the Rings all the way, like from, essentially from the beginning all the way to the end, where they keep asking the questions, why didn't they use the Eagles? And the answer is because the bad guys had freaking ballistas, okay? The Eagles didn't like being shot out of the sky, and that happened when they flew over where people lived and where orcs lived. So they were like, I'll pick you up from this point on, but you got to get here first. That's my story, sticking to it. Now, so when I thought about this whole thing, Timmy, Johnny, Spike, the thing I know is that I'm not a Spike. Okay, I am not win at all costs. If I spam something on the tabletop, it is for pure silly. And though I play games with the intention to win, I don't go straight sour grapes when it looks like I'm starting to lose. Um, so, personal story, I used to really piss off my boss when I was at the game castle because, like, real talk, my primary game, my basis of a game is Go. And chess, you play out until the king is dead. With Go, when you see that there's no turning back, you can see it and say, hey, good game. All right? It's very much like top of the ninth, and you're at the plate, top of the ninth. Um, it's second out, and the score is 9-0. You know, a lot of people want to play that out and try and get like 3 grand slams, or at least 2 grand slams and 1 home run with a guy on second, right? Right. You know, a lot of people do that. But I come from the school of, if you don't see a way that you can catch up, then quit fighting and play another day. Play another game. And I used to piss my boss off because when I would play games, as soon as I saw that there was no way back, I'm like, well, you beat me. Good game. And they're like, no, play it out to the end. I'm like, I'm not going to sit here being a punching bag. I know how my deck works, and you killed all of my power cards, so I've got nothing but support cards for something that's no longer in play and that I can't resurrect. And so, yeah, I'm like, nope, sorry. So yeah, I mean, that's a real thing. Um, but a Spike fights it out to the bitter end, hoping for that miracle. And I'm like, yeah, nah, that's not the way I like to play. Because I know when I'm licked. I know when I'm too tired. I know when I can no longer do the thing I went there to do. So I don't push through. Real talk, I do that with my job. And once my hobby or the thing I do for enjoyment starts to feel like my job, I stop doing it. I'm kidding. I love this job. I'm talking about the manual labor stuff. Um, so, yeah. So, how do you determine what kind of a game player you are? Well, the first question is, what is your purpose for playing? What do you think the point of a game is? Okay? Your answer to that question will let you know what path you're on. I enjoy playing for the sake of playing. I like to be included. I like to be part of the gang. I was a very loyal. I was a very lonely child. Okay, so winning is not my primary motivation. So that takes me right out of Spike. And then I have to ask myself the question: what's fun? Okay, what is the thing that makes me smile? When I say the game was awesome, what am I talking about? Okay. A lot of the times when I play games with other people, the banter is a big part of it. The funny voices, the playing pretend. I really like tabletop miniatures games because it reminds me of playing with toys. So I get to go, no, don't run me over with your giant tank. I have so much fun with that. All right. Hey, Mellocello. All right, I'm glad you're here. So that's the kind of thing I like doing. However, I do like finding combinations. I do like understanding how things work, and I like playing with it. Can I make an infinite combo? If I have fate dice, can I find something to do with that too? I have a 2 that's just right over there. What can I do with that 2? I don't know what I can do with that 2, but it's there. I don't want to waste it. That kind of thing. And Since those are the ways that I like playing, then I have to ask myself the third question: which is the one that I like more? Okay. I'm split between, oh, look at me being silly, got the big monster, and I wonder what would happen if. But where do I lean more often? And for me, I lean toward the absurd. Okay, I lean with, I'm playing with toys. No, oh no. Hey, Mr. He-Man, who's trying to kill you? I don't know, but they better. Oh God, oh, that's what I like. Okay, I feel happy. I feel adorable. All of those things. So when I play the game, whatever game I'm playing, don't care if it's Warhammer, Stargrave, Dungeons and Dragons, Go. Don't care. I'm most definitely a Timmy. Okay. However, I do have Johnny tendencies. Now, I want to back up and I want to make something clear. No player of any game ever, I don't care what you do in your personal time with your significant other. No player anywhere. Hey, what's going on, Sideshow Paradox? Welcome, by the way. I don't care what kind of player you think you are, where you come from, where you're at. No person who plays a game enjoys being raffle stomped. Okay? No, there is no category of player that goes, I like going to the casino, putting my money on the table with a game I don't understand, and the nice lady takes it away. No, there is no player like that, okay? And I hate that I have to make that whole thing, because if you're a Timmy, a Johnny, a Spike, doesn't matter, okay? It's not about how you want to win, but every single player is like, well, I don't like being loosed by being knocked off the table and stuff. No one does, because as a very good friend of mine states, that's not losing. That is not being allowed to play. All right? And when it comes to playing games, the act of not playing a game because you're against someone who don't play, that's not playing a game. That was, thank you for letting me be your punching bag today. I guess I'll be going. I get real snarky and people get real offended when I'm in those situations. I'm the guy that says, if you didn't want to play, you just had to say so. I definitely get you, Sideshow Paradox, and I want to talk about that word that you just used because it is relevant to what we're talking about today. Challenge. Challenge is great. Okay, challenge is amazing. Challenge is the thing that makes us better. Okay, no one gets buff by going to the gym and lifting a 1-pound weight. Okay, I'm not buff, and my day job is lifting 50-pound boxes for 8 hours a day inside an oven. No, I am not exaggerating. All right, and I'm not. I've got dad bod like you would not believe, and I'm cool with that. Okay, but there is a difference between challenge and abuse. And if you were born in the United States of America after 1964, chances are you have been taught something that doesn't serve you in regards to this. This whole, I challenge you to make you better, although you never asked me to do it. A lot of people like doing that I'm so hard on you because I want you to get stronger. Well, all you're doing is beating me down. Okay? And a lot of players justify their bad sportsmanship and their bad behavior using lines like that. I've seen it thousands of times. And I am that guy at the store that goes, did you have to beat them that hard? Well, if they're not that good, it's their job to get good. It's also your job to make sure the person you're playing with has fun. You're absolute. Wow, you know what, Sideshow Paradox? I'm glad you're here. You are so one of us. Yes, there is a time and a place for that. And believe it or not, I tell you guys all the time and the place for that is inside a tournament environment when there is something on the line. If you are looking to be that guy, woohoo, new follower, you know. So when I talk to one of my friends who cut his teeth in Warhammer in organized play, don't get me started on that language. I'm like, you say organized play, but does it mean tournament? Like when you go to these organized play things, does it affect your national ranking? Does it affect whether or not you're going to be in that circle if you go to Las Vegas Open or Warhammer Day in Manchester, or if you're playing Magic the Gathering? Is every game that you play something that is going to contribute to your score when it comes to the World Championships? Because that's the environment where you play like that. Because that's not play. That's working. That's your job. You know, if you're going for that $100,000 a year prize, you do that, but not against the people who aren't doing that. There is a time and a place, and when it is that time, and you're at that place, go for it. But players tend to quit games when they've been burned by the companies that make them, and when players that are like that try and make every time and every place that time and that place, and they succeed. And this is coming from someone who left War Machine when War Machine became that, and someone who never wanted to learn Warhammer 40k because that's what 40k seemed to be in the area that I was. But again, it's not what you play, it's who you play with. So when I answer those questions, what do, when I start to play a game, what makes me think that a play experience is awesome, and how do I interact with that? Okay, that helps me determine, like, why am I playing? I want to play games to have fun. Hey, what's going on? Nobody. I was hoping you'd show up. So yeah, when I learn a game, I'm like, I want to have fun. One of my normal things, one of my normal indicators for fun is smiling and laughter. If there's smiling and laughter by most of the people involved in a play experience, then we have successfully accomplished the thing. Okay, that is the whole thing. I'm a black man in the United States, and I'm in my mid-40s. I live an intense life. Okay, not to mention I'm a musician, a nerd, and a weirdo, and an occultist. I live a very weird life. That's very intense. So I don't need the things that I do to enjoy life to be as intense as the rest of my life. It's called escapism for a reason, okay? Not, this is my chance to get back at the world that I can't confront in my daily life time. That's why I have a punching bag. And the punching bag doesn't even have a voice modulator in it to yell and scream every time I hit it or kick it, okay? Thought about putting one in, and then I thought about my neighbors and decided otherwise. So every person, when it comes to why they play games and stuff, we have something that we are not naturally attuned to, but we've been habitually conditioned to be, and the thing that we would like to be. And it is up to each of us to practice the kind of self-awareness to know which ones we are, which ones that we'd like to be, and where those two intersect. No one else's job. That one's ours. That one's on us. Okay? I'm a Timmy with Johnny tendencies. And that means I love coming up with combos. I love figuring out the game behind the game. We talk about that all the time. Love it. I wish it came in cans, However, I don't love that more than I love laughter and love smiling and love being in a room full of people who are doing just that. Okay? Um, Now, I do take it upon myself to be the guy that tries to make everybody laugh and smile and all that stuff. Not because I'm an attention whore, but because I know a lot of people that have a lot of emotional damage. Um, but if someone else is doing that, woohoo! It's just like I love DMing, but I also love playing. So woohoo! Let's see. Mellocello says, "Yep, the game is supposed to be fun. Not have fun while making certain people feel uncomfortable or ready to rage quit." Exactly. Shadow Paradox. This sort of thing should be talked about more before the character is even made. Amen. That is what I call my session -1 or my coffee session. Let's have some coffee. Let's talk. What kind of game do you like to play? Tell me about the time that you had fun. In the last time you really had fun in a game, what was the thing that made it fun? Because a lot of Johnnies, there are people that are Johnnies with spike tendencies, meaning they have to win and they have to win their way. And if their combination doesn't work, but they still raffle stomp the person, they're still not happy. Some people are like that. Some people look at playing games like confirmation of their identity. We here at Back in the Deck are here to help people heal from that. Okay? Because I know a lot of people that put themselves in every game they play, which means when things aren't going their way, they're not losing a game. They are being assaulted and insulted. There's a lot of salt. They're very salty, you know. And the fact of the matter is that the last I checked, and I could be, hang on, and I could be a little out of touch because I'm 46 years old, which means I'm internet ancient, and life moves faster and faster the older you get because you slow down and technology increases, okay? So I might be out of touch. But the last time I looked up what a game was, I thought that a game was an activity designed for pleasure and amusement. That's what I thought a game was. I mean that's the whole thing. I'm like, wow, I'm amused and I'm having a pleasant time. I am engaged in a way that makes me smile. Okay, cool. What? Woo, yeah. um but if that's not what a game is, and if that's what the definition, if that's no longer the definition or the spirit of what a game is, I'd be happy if someone would let me know. And I do mean that. I'm not just telling jokes, because when you interact with people, their paradigm of what they believe gaming is, what they believe the purpose of a game is, that will give you insight as to what kind of player they are. And if you understand the type of player that you're talking to and the type of player that you are, you then have the tools to determine whether or not you are compatible with this person on that level. Okay? That's huge. Okay? I have a friend who is hyper competitive, but she's also a Johnny. So she wants to understand and do a whole bunch of stuff, but she's also hyper competitive. And her and I laugh so hard when I try and teach her games, because I'm like, you're trying really hard to win, but you could actually read this rule in the book first. I'm like, if you want to win that hard and you want to be all this stuff and this stuff, you should study the rules and think about stuff. I'm here if you want to ask questions. I've also known people in my life that were just like that, but they were more spike in the sense of, I don't need to ask you questions, because if they didn't understand, then they felt like they weren't as intelligent as they thought they were. And again, back to insulted and assaulted and, and those people I don't play with. I literally don't sit down and interact with them on the gaming table with. I'm like, we can do something else. Because, yeah, I want to do something that is amusing and pleasurable. And letting you beat me up so that you feel better about yourself is not on the list of things that accomplish that for me. So, and again, I don't say this with judgment or attack on their character and stuff. I realize that that is what they want. Feel free to get what you want, you know? Um, so, yeah, I mean, that's the thing, Shadow Paradox. Everyone can be competitive sometimes. No individual person, or, yeah, no person is a Spike, a Johnny, or a Timmy without having tendencies of the other two. Okay? Um, my Spike comes in when with the I want to win fair and square. Okay? However, if I don't win, my day isn't ruined. And I don't go at things playing hard. Um, as you guys saw, I played my very first game of Combat Patrol. Okay? And I wasn't playing hard, but I also wasn't just running around going whoop whoop woo, you know, because I was playing against someone who is a professional game player. And, you know, I mean, literally, the man owns a game store and he opened up for us at Back in the Deck on the day that the store is closed. All right. So I owed it to him to play seriously. And I did, you know. Um, I've been told that Warhammer 40K is a game that is objective based, so I seized objectives and I did my best to hold them. Yes, I ended up winning, okay? But if I hadn't won, I would have been fine with that, okay? Um, but also, I was playing the Eldar, so I got to. Oh, thank you. I was playing the Combat Patrol, so I got to do my hoity-toity elf voice. Oh look! Oh look! Yes, yes, I can see the future. And now there was no way I could have lost that game having rolled 5 6s on my fate dice at the beginning of the game. So I'm like, oh yes, yes. Well, I shall roll because I find it droll. Yes, because I have pointy ears and I think that I'm better than everyone else. you know, um, and I had fun doing that. And I know when I genuinely make someone laugh, and Charles laughed a lot, and we had fun. Okay. And when he was talking to me about stuff that I forgot, or I would forget a rule, and I'd be like, oh, wait, I can do that. But instead of going, well, it says I can do this, so I'm doing this, and you can't tell me I can't, I'm like, would you mind if I did this? Because, yeah, I failed a battle shock test, and then I remembered that there was a stratagem called Insane Bravery that's available to everyone, where you pay a command point and you pass a battle shock test. So I'm like, actually, I just remembered this, blah, blah, blah. Can I use it? It's right here on Twitch. I'm uploading it on the YouTube like tomorrow or Saturday. And you guys can see it for yourself, you know, because I don't know what I'm doing, you know, and he made a couple of mistakes. And I'm like, dude, this is my first game. Feel free to take the thing back. I don't care, you know. And that's the whole thing, you know. I am that kind of player. I am a Timmy and a Johnny. However, I had to like tap into a little bit of Spike when it came to seizing objectives, and I'm like, okay, the Johnny in me is going, wait, this thing has a few command points. My last guy in this unit who passed his battle shock test has this many command points, so if I advance him across the board to back up this guy, I take the objectives. Isn't this cool? All right, fine, you know. um Oh, that is great. A barbarian character who spoke as a posh Englishman. Dude, the Englishman from the movie, right? You know, just like, well, yes, I say, manners maketh man. And now I unfortunately have to thrash you. Yes, I have to thrash you with my barbarian rage, you know. Oh, I have to act like a savage, you know. That sounds like it would be amazing. I wish you could send or post up some of those games on your YouTube channel. That would be amazing. Okay, because one of my favorite characters is the barbarian, who is the barbarian who is convinced that they're a bard. So it's like, I will tame him by my poetry. But dude, you're a barbarian. I'm not a barbarian. I'm a freaking bard. I like telling stories. Okay, all right, cool. Yeah, you're a bard. That's cool. Just let him go. Last person that challenged him, he threw across a village. You are a barbarian. I love that poem. Maybe next time it can rhyme. No, the fact that it doesn't rhyme is genius. Please don't hurt me. I love that. I really do. I love that whole thing. Um, so yeah, I mean that's the kind, like, even talking about it, you guys can see the smile on my face, and it's actually making my face hurt. Okay, um, because it's not easy having a good time. Even smiling makes my face ache. No, ow. So, you know, so again, the questions that I would ask: grab a pencil. Why do I like playing games? What is the point? What is the point of doing this activity? Is it winning? Is it having fun? What is it that would make me engage in this activity? Question one. Question two. What does that answer consist of? I want to have fun. Hey Zen, yep, you made it. You wow. I'm picturing, like, a lot of my show is a lot like a lecture, but so oh man. Yeah, exactly, Although a lute, yeah, sorry. I was thinking of piccolo because lute, flute, and all that stuff. But yeah, you're totally reminding me, Zen, of that guy that like bust into the classroom right before the bell rings. That is so fun. So yeah, what is the purpose of this activity? Number one, what constitutes that answer? You know, why do I play the game? To win. What does winning look like? Why do I play that game? To have fun. What does having fun look like? Okay. And this will help determine not determine, but help to inform you on what kind of player you are. Okay. I rub a lot of people the wrong way as a gamer because a lot of folks don't like what I have to say. They feel attacked, which is why I have that disclaimer in the beginning of the show. Because a lot of people are like, no, man, I totally casually play. I'm like, no, you don't. No, you don't. You really don't. Casual players don't turn a game that was designed to be played in 1 hour into an all-day event by arguing rules, looking things up, looking for corner cases. That is not casual play. you know, but if you know what kind of player you are, if you're fine with that, you can lean into it and be the most not agreeable but compatible version of that. All right, we're gonna go a little bit over time, like we do every episode, so that I can explain. Um, as I said, I have Johnny tendencies. So when I interpret a rule a certain way and I come up with combinations that might work, when I go to the table, I'm like, well, according to this, and this, if I read it this way, I think I can do this. Does that make sense to you? And are you cool with that? And the player that I'm playing against is going, I never thought about that. Good save. Or good looking out. But here's the thing about being that kind of Johnny. Okay? If someone comes to you with that kind of thing, yeah, you got to give them their flowers too. Okay? A Spike with a Johnny tendency has a name, and that name is Rules Lawyer. Okay? And I don't mean Rules Lawyer as somebody who knows the rules. I mean, okay, because that's a referee, that's a judge. All right? A Rules Lawyer is someone who knows the rules and will initialize the rules when it's in their favor, and they'll either forget the rules or not speak up when the rules don't favor them or favor someone else. You get where I'm going with that? The lawyer knows the law so that they can win. Where a judge, a Johnny, knows the law to dispense justice. Okay? And again, when I have my Johnny tendencies, example, one of my rules of engagement when I'm playing a game is when I'm confused about a rule, I always err in the way that hurts me more. Okay? However, once I make that decision, I keep it consistent for the rest of that game, and then after the game we go and look up what happened. Okay, we look up what the actual ruling was. I was talking with someone, I think it was Charles, about the objective control point thing. And he and the other people who actually play Warhammer 40K was saying that objective control is that score. Okay, if you look at one of the index cards for, say, Space Marine Intercessors, okay, I'll just put some out there. It'll say they have objective control points of 2. And I interpret that as 2 points per model. And he was saying it was 2 points per unit. And I'm going, huh, well, that's not how I would play it, but that is the way that I would play it until figured out otherwise. And when I was there on Monday, he's like, everywhere I read said that it was per model, not per unit. I'm like, I thought so, and then I gave him my reasoning. I didn't argue, okay? I didn't argue because winning the argument is not what I'm up for. I want to play a game, not win an argument, all right? And if I lose the game because of a rule that we both misinterpreted, that's no bad reflection on me. Okay, I lost. We didn't get that rule right. Because I play games. I'm not a sportsman. I don't work in sports. I play games. And if I lose something that I was playing because I didn't understand a rule, guess what? That's what happens when you're new. You're old. You're human. You're tired. And as long as my ability to eat, pay my mortgage, and make sure that I can get medicine when I get sick, or my ability to help out my adult offspring is not on the line, then it doesn't matter because I'm playing. I'm going, oh, no, look at this. Oh, stompy, 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 stompy. Ooh, does it blow up? No. Should I use one of my fate dice to make it blow up? Nah, it's not around anybody right now, but I can use my fate dice to assure that my giant things blow up. That is good to know. I mean, that's just where I'm at. So ask yourself those questions. Find out what kind of player you are, and if the kind of player that you actually are isn't the kind you think you are, i.e., your ideal of self versus your behavior, then the next question that you have to ask yourself is, are you fine with that? Because if the answer is you're fine with that, then you know what kind of gamer you are, or what kind of person you are, because most of the stuff we talk about apply to life outside of games, but we're not talking about that. Shut up! And if the answer is no, then you can look into how to behave like the type of player you want to be. And as long as we've got those tools in our toolbox and on our tool belts, then we can maximize the amount of fun and pleasure that we get out of all the things that we do extracurricularly. I don't care if you're a gamer, a writer, a musician, even somebody who jogs. I don't understand jogging. I've never had a runner's high, but I know people who have, and if that's your thing. But understanding yourself, asking the questions, why do I do this? What does that answer mean? And am I okay with those results? If not, what do I do with it? They sound like basic questions, but they go so deep into who we are, But answering those questions saves you from the magic mirror gate. Because kind men find out that they are cruel when confronted with one's true self. Most men run away screaming. But those of us who don't go, yeah, I made peace with who I was, and I'm working on becoming who I'd like to be. So I look at myself and I can see the abused child that just wants someone to play with, and I can make peace with that when I'm at the gaming table. And this helps me not be triggered by the people that don't want me there. And when I can see what kind of players I'm playing with, I can choose on whether or not I either sit down at the table or I get up from the table and walk away. So, if y'all got any questions or comments about that, all right, feel free to hit me up at backinthedeck@gmail.com. That is BACKINTHEDECK @gmail.com. You can also hit me up at Twitter at backinthedeck. You can also hit me up on Instagram at backinthedeck and all that stuff. Well, thank you, Mello. You can also reach out to me on TikTok at BidP. That's BIDPY. And if you are like me and middle-aged and just confounded by all these social medias, why was I forced to get one of these all those years ago and nobody's using it except for that Tucker Carlson who's got a nice bow tie and part on Facebook? And no, I do not listen to Tucker Carlson except for when I'm looking for something to get mad at. Join Deckers on the Book. Check out what we're painting, what we're making, what games are we in, and all that other stuff. But I hope you guys enjoyed the show today. We should be here tomorrow with our co-host D.W. McCann. If he's not directly on the picket lines with SAG and the WGA, we seriously back you guys here at Back in the Deck, all right? Because writers need to get paid. And I'm going to put this out there, closest thing to politics we're doing on today's show. I know it's hard to sympathize with a lot of actors out there on the picket line while people are going, man, y'all are actors. Y'all need to shut up. Y'all make millions of dollars. Here's something that y'all need to know, okay? There are more actors than the ones whose names are on the posters, all right? If you're not a headliner, like all the people in the background, if you watch TV, if you're watching like Law and Order Criminal Intent or Law and Order, any of the 100 shows that there are, every single one of those killers is just a regular guy. Every judge, every person in the jury box, every person you see on screen is an actor. And only one or two of the people that you see on screen, not just the extras, the featured extras, the speaking extras, and the character actors, like my favorite character actor, Adam Goldberg. You probably don't know his name, but if you Google him, you'll be like, oh, that guy. Those people make $60,000 to $70,000 a year, just like a plumber. And those are the people that get screwed first when executives say we want all the money from streaming and screw everybody else. You know, they get screwed, the writers get screwed, and I'll tell you, the head writer on a show makes decent money, but shows like The Daily Show, Last Week Tonight, all those other guys, they have one head writer in the writer's room that makes like $130,000, $140,000 a year. However, every episode takes 7 or 8 writers. Look at the credits. And 6 of those 8 writers get $1,000 an episode. That's it. $1,000 per episode. That's all. So on a weekly show, that's $50,000 a year. Oh, no, wait, I'm sorry. A season is 13 episodes. So they make $13,000 a year on that. To put that in context, after taxes, that's less than $1,000 a month. We all know that right now in the United States of America, you can't get a freaking studio apartment for $1,000 a month in any city in this country. Okay? So if you're living in places where you could have a job as a writer, like Los Angeles, where I live, or New York, they need 5 roommates. And so, I mean, that's a real thing. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, you seem a little savvy, Sideshow Paradox. Welcome, and it's good. I'm not saying You, I'm not saying you qualify as one of us. You are one of us, and welcome home, dude, or dudette, or person. Just welcome home, sideshow. So yeah, so we back you, WGA, because when there's when a movie or a TV show makes hundreds of millions of dollars, there are people there that need to be paid enough to have somewhere to live and get gas enough to go to that writer's room. Okay? Call me crazy. So we back you, and I would be on the line, but I still have a mortgage to pay, and I'm not part of any of those unions, so I don't have access to the union funds to keep its members afloat. And truth be told, that's really only for the higher ups. So, so Back in the Deck as a company officially backs the WGA and SAG-AFTRA, all right? Because fair wages, fair pay for hard work is not an unusual ask, and it's not an unreasonable one. So, but with all that, guys, thank you for being here. Thanks for hanging out. And if anybody tells you that you can't like what you like because of the circumstances of your birth, be it race, religion, creed, gender identity, sexual orientation, disability, spice, or your budget, because we all know that the trailer park ain't never more than walking distance from the hood, you can tell those people to take that card that they're pulling on you and put it back in the deck. This is Solar Gray, the Cinematic Sorcerer, saying thank you guys for joining me, and we will see you next time on the dark side of the room.